MobLand Season 1 has set up one of its biggest twists yet, the identity of Kevin Harrigan's other brother. As teased by his mother, Maeve, there's seemingly either a secret child of hers and or Conrad's that we've already met within the show, or an otherwise unmentioned and unseen family member that could still be introduced. Based on Kevin's reaction, calling his own mother a F***King B***TCH when she brings it up, then it's certainly not something he's happy about. The Harrigan family in MobLand is already fairly large and includes at least one child from an affair, Serafina, Conrad's daughter with a stripper, so it's certainly not beyond them to have more secrets lurking. Based on the characters that we've met so far among MobLand's cast, at least, there aren't many who'd fit the bill for being Kevin's remaining brother after the death of Brendan, but one big theory would work. Is Eddie Harrigan actually Kevin's brother rather than his son? It seems like a plausible twist for MobLand. Although it's not a guaranteed thing, there's only one other brother identity that makes sense based on Kevin's reaction, his own son, Eddie. It has to be someone close to him to provoke that kind of response, and, unless Maeve is simply lying and bringing up an old rumor to hurt him, it's the logical choice here. It doesn't make sense for it to be Harry, since we've seen his and Kev's first meeting and just had a scene of Conrad saying he's gained a son in him, so in terms of impact, Eddie is the only real choice. This would fit with what we know of Conrad's past. Bella, Kevin's wife and the mother of Eddie, was one of his mistresses before she later entered a relationship with Kevin. The show went to lengths to not only point that out, stressing she was his number one girl, but also had Conrad remind Bella that he still owns her. Him being the real father of her son would fit with that, and based on what we've seen, Eddie is more like Conrad than he is Kevin. Eddie being Kevin's brother could be great for MobLand. The development could improve the character. Helen Mirren as Maeve hugging Anson Boone as Eddie Harrigan in MobLand. Eddie being Conrad's son would be a twist straight out of a soap opera, but it could actually be a good thing for MobLand for one reason: Eddie himself. He's not only the most detestable character on the show, albeit in a hard-fought race for the top spot alongside his ostensible grandparents, but also a very one-dimensional one. So far, Eddie's entire shtick is just being a dick, and when he did briefly open up and suggest there's some vulnerability to him, it was mostly just so he could sleep with Gina, Harry's daughter. If Eddie were revealed to be Conrad's son, and he found out, then it could be a way for the show to actually give him some more layers. He's spoken about how his father has never been there for him, so how does that change, and how does he react when it turns out his father wasn't Kevin? How does it change his relationship with Bella? And, perhaps most interestingly, what does it mean for him and Maeve? Since their bond has been one of the strongest, that final part is one of the more interesting questions, and a potential wrinkle in the theory. Maeve outright hates Serafina, yet treats Eddie like a golden child. But if the theory is true, it's not like she doesn't know about his parentage, so why is she so kind to him? Rather than debunk it, though, that could be the point. Maeve might be using Eddie for her own nefarious plans, which could even be building to taking down Conrad given her reckless and provocative actions, driven in part by him being Conrad's son. Eddie isn't a particularly interesting character so far in MobLand, and his real usefulness in the plot was over after he killed Tommy Stevenson. But with the amount of time the show spends on him, including facing off with Harry at times and establishing him as a villain of sorts, it needs to do more. This storyline would be the way to do that, giving him a more important role and allowing more depth to be added to him at the same time.